Now that Bitcoin's been around for over 10 years, it is amazing to think that the inventor of Bitcoin hasn't really been identified yet. It's kind of an amazing thing because most people that are um, creators of something that become a world phenomenon, the temptation to leak that information or to say something is so intense. So the fact that they've remained hidden from the public view for this long is absolutely amazing. And that's why a lot of people even speculate that perhaps the inventor is dead. But the question is who created Bitcoin? And we don't have many clues. I mean, we have a lot of emails and documentation and the kind of the words of someone that was writing back and forth claiming to be Satoshi Nakamoto. But even if you look at the Bitcoin white paper, it starts off introducing the idea and the concept, but in the very first explanatory paragraph, it states we. And also in the conclusion, it also talks about a we. So there may have been one voice, but there was definitely a group of collaborators that went into this, which that also makes this a very interesting mystery, because it might be well and good that one person can keep it under wraps, but a group of people working together, it's a lot harder to not say something. So it is kind of an interesting thing, and it makes Bitcoin unique because what happened is on October 31st of 2008, there was a white paper that was produced, and it explained the concept. And that was, it was kind of an interesting thing for those that saw it at the time. But when on January 3rd of 2009, there was an actual software that was released. That changed everything because it went from an idea to something that was built and that could be downloaded and tested and worked on. And the earlier people, they asked questions and they asked for clarification and they asked for his advice on solving problems, and he responded, and there were email transmissions, and that went on for a couple of years even. So the people that interacted with him took it for granted that they didn't really know who he was specifically. It didn't matter because he was like a resource to them. Well, when he just completely disappeared, nobody heard a word or knew anything, and all the people that had conversations with him realized that they really had no idea who he was. And so everyone likes to talk about Satoshi Nakamoto as the inventor of Bitcoin, but there had to have been a group of people that put it together, and this group has a lot of either self-control or something imploded and they may not exist anymore. So one of the other questions that comes along with this is, will it impact anything? If the true creator comes out and says, hey, I invented this and the world kind of went the wrong way with it, could that have an impact? Well, it's become its own animal. It's kind of like, you have kids and you think, I'm gonna teach them and train them and I'm gonna bring them up in a certain way. Well, then they become teenagers, and then you realize that your ability to really coach them and guide them is sort of limited. And so let's say Satoshi Nakamoto came on scene and said, we need to change some things. It would cause a fork. There are so many people that love the way it's built currently that they would have a hard time letting go of that. And if he came back, people would have to, there could be some financial power to sway things, because experts estimate that he owns 1 million Bitcoin, which that could that could definitely pull the markets around quite significantly. So there's a lot that is potentially, I mean, there's some potential volatility if anything really came out, but the fact that they haven't moved and the fact that no one knows who he is after more than 10 years, it feels like at a certain point you kind of think maybe he may not come back. So anyway, those are my thoughts. But in my mind, I feel like the work is more important than the creator. I feel like as thankful as I am for him and for what a contribution that he and whatever group it was that created it, the fact that it's here and it functions and it doesn't need permission from anyone, including the creator, speaks to the greatness of the creation. So Bitcoin's awesome, and I'm glad to be a part of this industry.